Hope you're doing awesome. And I'm looking at the camera right now. Welcome to the Saving Humanity podcast. I'm here with my friend Skylar. And Skylar's a friend of mine. He's someone who helps a lot of people. And he's helped me on my journey to try to positively affect those who engage with this podcast. And Skylar, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on, Taylor. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, and I appreciate your energy. And he's always like this. This is a genuine human being. And the first prerequisite I have for having anybody on the podcast, Skylar, is I have to know them, I have to seen enough of them, and then know how they engage with their fellow man, like what their intent is, like what see them in the wild. And just my experiences with you, I've gotten to know you and know sort of how you are, and I think your intent, and that's why you're here. And I wanted to ask you before anything. So Skylar started as a podcaster. Now he has a podcast studio, and you got such great energy. The people love this. The people who come here love this studio. What's the energy and sort of the environment that you look to set at the studio?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a different business than where I came from. So I did window cleaning before this, and it was like something people had to get done, and they wish they didn't have to get it done,
Right.
but it's like they just had to.
Right.
Here, it's like people want to be here and want to record their podcast, and they're,
Right.
they're passionate about
Right.
something, and that's why they come. So I think it's, we can only do so much for the culture and the environment. And I think the rest is done by you and, the other podcasters that come here. They come with their passion and with their excitement, and it really makes it a very fun place to be, at least for me. And I hear that from the team as well.
Your original podcast sort of delved into, at least initially, some self-development, sort of your own journey through it. Can you talk about your journey through self-development? Obviously, I'm sure you're still evolving, you're still using it, but what sort of, you were a big fan of podcasts, but what was that moment when you thought, man, I can create this, and not even this, but like your own podcast? And what is self-development? What role did that play in your evolution?
Yeah. So I started my personal or self-development journey, I think when I was a teenager. I think when my parents started taking me to little like seminars, even if they were just like an hour-long thing.
Yeah.
On just how to like expand your mind, think positive, and be the best version of yourself. And just really liked that idea. And I think I probably liked that idea a lot because I've always felt really stupid, if I'm being honest. Like I felt like not as smart as the other kids. And so hearing like, oh, there's other ways to improve yourself and to be the best version, I was like, okay, this is great. Like I can be more than what I am now. And, hopefully add up to what some of my friends are maybe doing.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's started back then, and I would listen to CDs or tapes or, YouTube videos on different entrepreneurs or personal development coaches, and would try to just learn as much as I could that way.
Right.
And my father was an entrepreneur, so that inspired me to be my own boss too, and have my own business. And so he just recommended do window cleaning. Why not? It's easy. I mean, you're young. People are just going to be like, yeah, sure, come clean my windows.
Right.
Everyone needs it. Everyone that has a home wants clean windows. And
Sure.
so, I listened to podcasts like all day, every day as I cleaned windows. So I've listened to thousands of hours probably because I did window cleaning for like 10 years.
Right.
And so there's just at some point, probably like year 6, 7, I just found myself like asking the questions that asking myself in my head the questions that the hosts were asking their guests.
Right.
And that just like planted this idea in my head of maybe I should be a podcaster. Like I'm thinking of the right questions.
Right.
And just, started my own. Started it first with a friend. He moved away, did my own, and then realized it wasn't as good as it could be. Hired a coach, and he helped me get it to the next level, and eventually just turned into, it was kind of an accidental business, the studio. But that's kind of where it started with me. Did I answer all your questions?
No, you did. You also. What do you think? So I want to talk more about making this dream come true, but we try to have people on who've overcome something and they share what they've learned from it. And what do you think the hardest thing you personally have overcome in your life? And you can be as honest as you want to be. You can not. But what do you think? I mean, if Skylar, if you're honest with yourself, if you're 85 years old up to this point in your life, if you look back until I was this age, what do you think the hardest thing you have overcome personally?
Hardest thing, myself. I don't know. I would say I like to be really transparent. I think, and I think this is everybody too. We all care what people think,
Sure.
and that can be crippling for a lot of people and stop them from achieving their dreams and doing what they really want
Yep.
to do. I feel like I always felt dumber than my friends. I always felt like I was just behind in the amount of money I was making, in maybe even who I was dating, or the kind of car I drove, or this or that. Always felt kind of less than.
Okay.
And shoot, I'm like,
Yeah.
lost my train of thought right there.
Well, you always felt less than. You felt like you were behind. You were kind of comparison. Did you release that need to compare to other people? Is that as you evolve on your journey, do you find yourself running your own race and not caring so much? And there's nothing wrong with using people as motivation. But go ahead.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. You asked the biggest thing I had to overcome.
Yep.
Yeah. And so anyway, so I always felt kind of like less than, right? And I had just kind of dealt with a lot of, I don't know, just feeling, or I don't know, a lot of different failures. I tried a bunch of different businesses, and some took, some didn't, and even the ones that did take, still was kind of living paycheck to paycheck for a long time. And then eventually I got married, and then I got divorced 9 years later. And I went to so many different personal development seminars before and after that, and I have been to probably 9 or 10 different therapists. And I don't know, I feel like I've just have failed so many times and had to be honest and just open up about so many things that it's allowed me to kind of stop caring what people think. I still care to a degree.
Yeah.
And, I think self-confidence is something that I'm still working on, but being able to move forward and not really care. I don't know. I'm past the point where it doesn't stop me from doing
Right.
what I want to do.
Right.
And so that's probably the biggest thing I've overcome, is just I've had enough failures where I don't really, it's just even if I fail, I know everything will be fine.
Right.
Because it has 100 times.
Right.
So I'd say that.
And there's something to that, knowing that you're mentally strong enough to overcome whatever's going to happen and not be so attached to the outcome, but have that internal value within yourself and be I can find a way. I can relate to that. And what's the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome to make this dream come true? This one where you're helping people get their voice out there.
Yeah. Well, when it's something you're passionate about, it doesn't really feel like a hurdle.
Okay.
I slept on the floor for a year.
Yep.
So I could make this dream happen.
Yeah.
I did it smiling because it
Yeah.
was this is what I wanted to do. It's what I
Yeah.
had to do.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. If you talked to me 5 years ago to say, hey, you have to sleep on the floor for a year to make your
Yeah.
podcast studio or business production
Yeah.
work, I'd probably be yeah, well, I'll probably figure out a way around
Right.
that hard
Right.
part or task in order to get to the success I want to get
Yeah.
to. But yeah, no, I think it's probably one of the biggest ones is, one, just putting yourself out there on a podcast and releasing clips. I think that's another thing you got to do, and learn not to care what people think and what
Right.
comments come through. But then, yeah, two, after that, just being okay to not make money for a long time. I think I've paid myself twice since
Yeah.
starting this.
I know.
And being okay for things taking longer than you'd want them to.
Yeah.
So,
You're delaying instant gratification for a bigger purpose.
mhm.
And I look at you and you may not see it, but I see such a high vibration person, and there's things I'm not going to get into, but there's things that there's things I know about you that just the kind of, I think, person you aspire to be, and also how you treat people, that I think a lot of you, and I think there's a lot you can share with people. That if more folks maybe had your sort of mindset and energy, and also big picture thinking, I think, it would raise the vibration of our society. And then what does, this is a Saving Humanity podcast, and we try to raise the collective consciousness of those who engage. And maybe the vibration. What does raising the vibration mean to you personally? How do you think you raise it, or what does it mean when you, because it's such a cliche thing, and now I know you have guys who come in here and they're spiritual teachers and things, but like what does raising the vibration mean to Skylar?
For me, when I think raising the vibration, I think a lot of it just has to do with like attitude and how we deal with the things that come our way.
Yep.
Because like I said, like I've had a lot of failures, a lot of embarrassing moments in my life, and I think we all have. And one person, they're gonna get in a car accident and think, oh no, this like always happens to me, and my life sucks and all that. And then another person will get in a car accident and say, oh, good thing, like, or maybe I was protected, maybe. Or like I was protected in the accident, and that's why I'm not hurt. Or I got in this accident because if I would have gone for another 5 minutes, I would have been killed in a different accident.
Exactly.
Like there's just so many different ways to think about it. And to me, it's a lot of like, I think raising our vibration or the vibration of the world. And I think it all starts in our mind, just how we react to the situations that we're exposed to.
100%. I mean, it's so true. It's like things don't have a meaning until you give them one. Is what I say.
Yeah,
until you label it,
I like that.
And so you're here now, and you have your business rolling, and I think you're making a name for yourself in this space, but also just like in the Utah community of people who are doing things in the entrepreneurship, space. What advice would you give to? It's such a cliche question, but I think it's more just. I wouldn't even say advice to your 20-year-old self or younger self, but like, how do you coach? How would you coach yourself? If that they always say that we're hardest on ourselves, but what advice would you give to yourself, and maybe what can you glean from that even now going in the future? What advice would you tell yourself 10 years ago?
Ooh, I would say, don't follow the quick money thinking, like if you want to do something because you think you'll get rich quick, like don't do that. I would say win slowly, which is the opposite of that. Like just look for things that are long-term plays.
Right.
I would say that because I think especially when you're young, everything feels like it's happening so fast, and 20, 25 years old feels like so old to an 18-year-old. They're like,
I know.
Wow, they should.
I know.
They're just so far in life, and so. I think I would just try to give myself as much perspective. Like even when you're 30, you are very young,
right? And
just play the long game.
Agreed. Yeah.
And don't try to have this instant success. What would you call it? The instant gratification. Yeah. Don't go after that, and really just figure out what you want and go after it, and be okay to take 10 years to do it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think? What role do you think? Growing up here in Utah. You mentioned the comparison game, and Utah has one of the. I'm not from Utah. I've lived in 10 states. I'm from the Southeast. Everyone who knows me knows. But when I come here, there's so many what I would call high vibration people like yourself. I have a good friend. He's a business owner here, and he's made me better. Just being around him. And he's pushed me. Not like. Told me I wasn't worthy if I didn't do something, but just watching him, and then we go back and forth. He gives me, advice. I think I've helped him too, because I do work on myself as also, and so. But what do you think growing up here? Maybe your background. You can get into as much or as little as you want, but what do you think that has done for you? I think people would be surprised how special Utah is. I think Salt Lake area is. I'm thankful for the energy that you've put into this place, and of course we have a business relationship, but we're also have a friendship. But like what you've done, I'm thankful for. But what do you think, growing up here and seeing it, whether it's through your dad who's an entrepreneur, the people in your dad's network, the guys now who are entrepreneurs, I'm sure you're in circles and things of that nature. What influence has grown up here in Utah and being in the social circle here in Salt Lake of how would you see that as a role in your life?
Yeah, I think we're a product of our environment, and I mean, I've only ever
to some degree for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and we can still control it, of course. But Yeah, I mean, this is the only place I've like grown up, so I really don't know. Like, okay, how is Utah
Right,
different than
right,
California
right,
or New
right,
York, right?
right.
So, um, I think I have been blessed. I think I grew up with a great friends around me and great parents, and I think there's a lot of awesome things that I don't know, just feel very lucky about.
Yep.
And I love Utah as a whole. Yeah,
Me too.
beyond the people, like I probably won't live anywhere else.
Yeah, I know.
I'm really outdoorsy too.
Yeah,
And so like
yeah.
that's like a big reason. It's
I
like
know.
love skiing.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't go a season without it.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think just the amazing people and what there is to do here, and I mean, I won't say I was the most lucky. Like I said, I always felt less than
Yeah.
than a lot of people. But yeah, no, I think just
It's funny
around
because
people.
just to delve into that, when I look at you, and I have a few years on you, but I see like such a competent, intelligent, like when I look at you, I would think like, okay, stereo attractive, strong, smart guy that like people would see and be like, man, this dude, he's he has advantages. I totally don't believe in like, I think there's such overplayed people thinking that so-and-so has an advantage because they're born this way or they look a certain way. I actually know that that's not the case if you look even statistically, but I look at you and I see someone who's like, man, this strong, smart, dude. And then you tell me that you have self-confidence, not that you currently, but you've worked on that throughout your life.
Mm-hmm.
What's been something that like, even in self-development, what's been the biggest limiting belief? Is it that self-confidence? What's been the thing that you think you had to release to sort of go? Because I do think we're always releasing maybe some inner beliefs that don't serve us, but what's been one for you that as you started this business and got it going, and as you meet higher value people, and I actually hate that term, but as you yourself interact with, people that like maybe you would just like wouldn't even think you'd ever meet, and now here you are doing business with them. What's a limiting belief that you had that you've sort of released and let go?
Business wise,
Personally, everything. Yeah,
anything?
I guess it all goes together, really.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. I would say a limiting belief that I've had to overcome was that I don't know, I would make a mistake and people would be mad at me because of the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big one. I think in business and in general, we're always going to make mistakes.
Right.
I love my dad, and he's been a huge inspiration to me in a lot of that I've done. He did yell at me a lot, though.
Okay. Okay.
And so I feel like that's kind of come with me,
Yeah.
just into personal life and business,
Yeah.
where it's like, if I make one little mistake or I
Right.
ask someone to do something that maybe
Right.
they want to do, they're going to be upset.
Right.
And so that's, I think, something I'm still working on.
Yep.
But I mean, this conversation's helping me also recognize
Yeah.
it even more.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then another thing, like it's okay to ask for money. That was a big limiting belief is
yeah.
I mean, there's still people that like were supposed to pay me money, but I just have never reached out
Yeah.
and said, hey, this invoice is unpaid
Yeah.
from a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just like had a really hard time asking for money. Like
Yeah.
I'm like it's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's one that I've been overcoming a lot the last 2 years being in business.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to ask
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the equal exchange of value that's
Yeah.
happening.
Exactly.
So I'd say those.
One thing I like about you too is like you're a man of your word. You have, I think something that like is a good code to live by, and this is not a religious thing, but like the most, to the degree highest you can, if you can do what you say you're going to do, I think you build confidence with yourself, but also like people know you as like the person who follows through. And that's one thing like I really aspire to be, and I think you're like that, and I think that the fact that you've built this and people depend on you, and that like you're, even when you have a cold, even when you don't feel like, even when it's a great snow day, and you're like, I told this person I was going to be here for this at this time, I'm going to do it. I think those are things that like, kind of an old school thing, but man, it's so valuable. And I see that within you, and just and I tell you what, you've built a great team. How did you learn the process of sort of extending that out of getting people around you who can help you, and what was that like? Sort of managing people, learning how to do that, learning how to have systems and things in place. What's the learning curve been there?
I'm still learning it,
Yeah.
I'd say. Another thing, like I feel like I've been lucky so there's two other guys on our team, and they're awesome. And they just kind of showed up in a way. We have Lars. He just emailed me one day when I was kind of thinking about, hey, I should probably like bring on someone else. This is becoming almost too much for one person. He emailed me. We were emailing back and forth for probably 6 weeks or something, and then he eventually came in. We met, and he's awesome. And then we have Tyler, who is the younger brother of someone who has helped me with the studio in the past, but he had bigger and better things he was going to, and so he not referenced his brother.
Yeah.
He recommended his brother.
Yeah,
recommended his brother, and so I didn't really even have to look that hard for a good team, and it just kind of happened, which I really fortunate for me. I think.
This is where like being where you're at is a great place. like being in Utah. And I think an undervalued thing about Utah, it's just like it's such a high, I think there's a misconception about the culture here from abroad, from afar. I've lived in 10 states. Whenever someone who I know from a different state finds out I'm in Salt Lake City, they always have these general ideas about Salt Lake City, and of course they're all like false, like without a doubt. Like people have no idea.
Yeah.
But just like misinformation, in certain areas, Salt Lake City, and I know the people here are actually happy because they're like, yeah, keep people away. Although now that's actually kind of changing. I actually love people, and I love meeting people, Californians and places. And as someone from the Southeast, I mean, everywhere I've been, people look at me and do you guys even know how to read down there? That's kind of stuff people ask me. So I love everybody, but I think, but being here in a place where there's just high standards, I think is the best term for it. Mm-hmm. And then you get around people who grew up that way and have that sort of expansion mindset or growth mindset. I think it does fuel you too. Yeah. I think it does fuel you, and I think. I mean, there's so many studies that talk about like how we, behave like others, or we take on the emotions of others, and it's so true, And I do think when you see someone striving for more, pushing, it's natural to be like, man, let me be introspective and see if I can get better and improve. And then also you're just around like people who are confident, like, man, you guys can come in here and do this. You have smart people. They say there's a natural advantage in like Silicon Valley with the talent there. I think there's a natural advantage with the talent here in Salt Lake too. Like, I know we're not in, but for those people, like the Salt Lake area, it really is true. There's just a high vibe, intelligent group of people here, and having lived all over the country, I see it. And I'm thankful for it. But wanted to get with you, and this is where we can always, edit it, or I can.
Sure.
If I can ask you this, I've got a bunch here that also I'm going to ask you. And if I don't edit this and you're on YouTube watching this, you are a super fan. I appreciate you. I love you. And thanks for the support. We have like 32 people that watch the whole thing, like literally hard. That's it.
Well, that's how podcasts start.
Mm-hmm.
Start with, I was just looking actually at I have a favorite podcast. They just do everything at such a high level.
Mm-hmm.
They've done over 1,000 episodes. And I went to their first episode on YouTube, and it was like terrible quality.
Yeah.
Right. It was like 7 years ago, like just some like I don't know, dinky camera.
Right.
No, they didn't have any other microphones besides what was going through the camera.
Right.
It was just in their like kitchen table or living room or something like that. And it's just like that's how it starts.
That's how it starts.
That's normal.
And can I ask you this? This is something I ask, and you can answer however you like to. When was the last time you really fully felt proud of yourself? Like, because you mentioned the self-confidence, and also maybe having, a father who wanted you to excel because he loves you. When was the last time you personally felt proud of yourself?
Man, I think I do feel proud of myself regularly, only because like I feel like I struggled for so long, and then just now I see what's being built, and I still feel like the whole podcast business, I'm like the production side, I feel like it's in its infancy,
Sure.
but honestly, I just like look at what we're building and I'm like, whoa,
Right.
like I'm
Right.
like surprised,
Right.
like it blows me away. It's like, oh, this is like, and I don't make millions by any
Yeah.
means, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, this is like, oh, okay, I'm not paycheck to paycheck
Right.
anymore. This is awesome.
Right.
So I think I just am proud of myself for like
Yeah.
the little wins.
Yeah.
But the last time, I mean, I think,
I find that men, in particular, like we have a hard time answering that. Like I don't know if we, we don't ever think. I think there's like the suicide rates among men are the highest,
yeah,
even successful guys, and it's like it's a pretty big thing here in Utah too. There was an epidemic about 10 or 12 years ago with high school students, all boys,
yeah.
and it's like, when's the last time you were actually proud of yourself? I don't know. I don't know if I can always answer that all the time. Like when's the last time I was like, man, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
It's a very unique thing. And yet there's so much to be proud of.
I think that's like the first time I've been asked that
I
question.
know the first time you've been asked that question.
Yeah.
And the first time you've thought about it in a while.
Right.
I'm going to pull this up real quick. This is the help of the internet. What do you think? What do you think happens when people finally, and you have a unique perspective because you had your own podcast and you help people. But what do you think happens when people finally find their voice, speak up, sort of can project their energy and voice to the world? What do you think happens to them?
I think relief.
Mm-hmm.
I think I see a lot of people, they come in and they, they're excited. They, they're passionate about what they're coming in for. But I think a lot of people, just as they leave, they almost seem like lighter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I've talked about what I want to. I met this person that I wanted to meet. I'm doing this thing that I love and want to do, and like feel like there's kind of a peace and a calm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, does that answer that?
That's awesome. I'm gonna get rid of this white paper. That's absolutely awesome, and that makes perfect sense. I can relate to that feeling. Just shooting the podcast, and whether you have guests or you come in here and riff for an hour yourself, is like the feeling that you've processed your thoughts. They Jordan Peterson talks about this. He's like, if you don't write out or speak out your thoughts, some challenges you have, it will internally poison your body, and there's something spiritual about working through things, speaking through things, releasing things, where it's a meditative experience. It's also just a very emotional thing to sort of collaborate with someone, but also just express yourself, say things in a way that, you don't have to worry about being stifled or, all the little, caveman things we worry about that might happen to us if we say the wrong thing, just sharing freely. It's a magical experience,
it's
really.
Therapy.
It's therapy. It's therapy.
Yeah.
It's therapy. It's an unpaid. It's a different form of therapy, and there's things too that, and I think you talked a little bit about this, but what did you hope people would gain from your own podcast, your own like what was your intent, or what is your intent if you had a mission statement to which you live by every day? What is your intent for the world around you?
Do more of what you love. I would something around those lines. I used to have a wristband that said that, and I think a lot of people, and I'm seeing this more and more as I get older too, and I'm like trying to not fall into this like work all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to hustle and to like go after what you want, but
Yes.
also like I think there's a season for that, but there's also a season to like, I don't know, almost like avoid burnout or to invest into relationships a lot more. Because we live in such a busy world, it's hard to answer all the texts and the emails and hang out with the friends and go on date night with your wife and achieve all these different goals you have in business. Like there's so much to do now. And I think something that's funny about that is we have dishwashers to clean our dishes. We have We have laundry, like washer and dryers to do our laundry. We can get around from A to B with cars incredibly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all these tasks that used to take us so long, we're doing quicker, but our lives feel busier more now than they did before. You
Right.
don't even have to write a letter, seal it, put it in the mailbox.
No.
You can just send a text.
Yeah.
You know, but we still feel busier and busier. And it's like, okay, why? So I think just like doing more of what you love, which I think the opposite of that is do less of what you don't want to do. I don't think every person you text, you have to reply to. I think like I don't know, you just don't owe every single person that sends you an email to answer, like every scammer or every, you know, you just don't owe them that, you know?
You don't.
So it's like, you really got to protect your time and your like what soaks up your time a lot. And I forget your question already, but essentially.
And I can even build on that. Like I talk about this quite often, but so Saving Humanity podcast is a community, and we do little events and stuff, and we'll invite people. And I even do that with like energy. Like if someone's energy, and I would never like just a random stranger go up and judge someone's energy, or if it's, you know, I don't, and if you know me, or if you know, you're watching this, you don't have to worry about like, you know, so someone's analyzing your energy at all times. But even like with my own, whether it's a business thing, whether it's, you know, I work all the time, whether it's a personal relationship, man or woman, and it doesn't matter. But like if someone's energy, I read that, and like their outer shell is irrelevant. Like I'm to the point now as like a 38-year-old man where it's just like someone's energy is so important, because you literally feel either uplifted or depleted after being around a certain energy. And when you talked about time and everything, but I find that way with energy. Yeah. It's like it doesn't matter, you know, someone's outer shell or what their, you know, monetary. It's like the energy that they engage with their fellow man is more vital than anything, because we only have so much time left on this earth. And you know, there's a lot of books, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, but a lot of books show that like we take on the energy of others, we take on the emotions of others. Our brain lights up with others, and you know, when someone has that bigger sense of purpose, that high vibration, and they're kind, they're just genuinely kind, you actually feel good. You know, you actually have a chemical download in your own body. And it's an underrated thing, but I think the people at the higher levels do it. And I also think, like, as we automate everything, as AI is going to now make, as you say, we have so much we can, you know, offset to that. It's going to make it where, like, your vibe, for lack of a better term, is going to be everything. You know, it's going to be everything. And people even want to be in your space, because if you have that sort of victim mindset, or if you have a low vibration energy, and I think we can all oscillate in and out of it, but if you can sort of, you know, share with others freely and have that higher vibration, I think it only makes you attractive, but it's going to be the future, because we're all going to have a lot of different choices, and you know, how people make us feel, I think is very important. you know, really, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, people won't remember like always what you said or what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. And you know, kids are really good about that. Kids can read someone's energy very, very easily. We as adults, we almost lose touch with that, because we have these, you know, at least if you go down the rabbit hole of like, I think men can be like this, very like analytical, logical. We're just like, do this, and we've lost touch with like our inner child, but also like our ability to read energies and to even know what even feels good to us. We don't even know. We've you know, we've desensitized ourselves to try to have some, you know, weird outcome, which is not even like really healthy for ourselves or anything. It's just like, it's like digits on the screen or some sort of goal that we have that we're like, I'm willing to do this. And that's beautiful. And also though, it does like desensitize our ability to even read people and, you know, why we are the way we are. And, so, and let me just, a couple other things we have. And I know that you talked about this a minute ago. The relationship you had with your dad. What kind of impact has your dad had on you throughout your life? I know I'm very close with my father. He's had such a huge impact on me. Probably, you know, wanted to be just like him when I was younger, and I still love him to death. Obviously, as you age, you mature, you realize things you can release and let go of. But talk about your father. Talk about your father's influence, and if you can be vulnerable, but just talk about your father and talk about the influence that your father had on you.
Gonna make me cry. Okay. I love my dad. I didn't always though. I used to say like I hate my dad. And for the things that I hated him for, even though it wasn't necessarily maybe the right thing for him to do, it still made me stronger in ways that I needed. So even when I felt like he wasn't helping me, he was. And I saw my dad doing things a certain way, and always, I feel like he's always like stood up for what's right. He's not afraid to say what he believes, and I really admire that about him. I saw the life he was able to build for himself as an entrepreneur, and it's not like he's making $100 million or anything like that, but like he has what he needs and what he wants, and he's happy with it. He doesn't need all the flashy cars and the watches and everything to be happy. Sometimes I wish he would like spoil himself a little more, but that's just not like who he is. And he's taught me a lot. He's helped me just through seeing him. He's helped me realize what I do and don't want in life. I know like a lot of like I had to go on scout camps when I was younger, and my dad would always be able to come because he was a business owner and he could come or take that time off. And a lot of my friends' parents weren't able to. Some were, but not all of them, right? And so that just made me really see like okay, that's a path I do want to go down. And frankly, I kind of felt like it was the only path I could go down because I was too dumb to go to college. But anyway, no, I'm very grateful for my dad and everything that he's taught me, and how to treat people right, what's important. And I think the cool thing is in like every time someone makes a mistake, you can learn from it. Every time someone does something right, you can learn from it.
Right.
And he's by no means perfect.
Right.
None of us are.
Right.
But I've been able to learn from a lot of his mistakes, but of a lot of the things he's done right. And it took me getting older and maturing a lot to realize like how much he has helped me, even when I felt like he wasn't.
Right.
So I'll leave it at that.
How far did you get into Scouts, by the way? How far did you go?
I was an Eagle Scout.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a direct correlation with like people who are Eagle Scouts and like doctors, lawyers, and like entrepreneurs. I don't know if you know that, but there's if anyone cares to know, there's a pretty high correlation between like Eagle Scouts and like people who are very successful. And I think it just teaches you discipline and like resilience. It's a form of self-development.
Yeah, no, cool.
And so that's something. It's very interesting how we are as people in our upbringing. They actually say that I've heard different well, I don't want to get into it, but we're good to go a few more minutes here.
Yeah. I think we're good.
Okay. There's a few things I was going to talk about here. What was the moment in your entrepreneurial journey you realized, like you talked about earlier, but what was the moment in your entrepreneurial journey where you realized, like, wow, I'm really helping people? Like, what was there a specific moment when you were like, wow, I'm doing something I can't believe I'm doing?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah, I mean, I cleaned windows for so long, and I was, I think, proud that I like had my own business and I was making enough, but it was never exactly like, this is what I want to be. I want to be known as Skylar the window cleaner. Like, I wasn't exactly like my full ambition. And and I think there's still so many things I want to do and would like to do.
Right.
Anyway, but I think it probably was like around a year ago, probably more like 6 months ago, honestly, where just because we're pretty new business still, and just the more people that come through and they just love coming here and love like seeing the final result and love what we do, like it really feels like we're really helping fulfill a need. And that's what I've realized business is like, I heard this for so long. It's businesses solve problems. Like it's like, what problem does your business solve? It's like, you don't start a business don't start it to make money.
Right.
Start it to solve a problem.
Right.
And you will get paid based off of the level of the problem that you solve.
Yeah, exactly.
And I never really had that way of thinking about it until more recently. And I'm just realizing, okay, yeah, people want to have a podcast. They want to share their voice. This is just something they want to do. But man, if you knew how many cords were going through this room, and like how they all have to work, everything has to work perfectly together. Every microphone, camera, light, recording, like audio source. Like I don't know. There's just so much that goes into it that I had no idea. But I think it's. I mean, I would have saved money if I would have just recorded at a studio, then
Right.
Bought all
Right.
this stuff
Right.
myself, right? So like, I think I am like helping people get what they need,
Yep.
and if they really knew like what goes into this, they also, I think a lot of people realize this is saving me a lot of money.
Awesome. A couple more questions. The first one being, are you involved in any sort of entrepreneurial circles here or masterminds? And what has that shaped for you, if you are, or what sort of some influences on your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. Funny enough, and I don't know exactly why this is, but once I stopped reading all the books, once I stopped listening to the podcasts, once I stopped going to the events and being a part of the groups and everything,
Yeah.
that's when I started being successful.
Awesome.
I think it was, and I think the reason is like there was so much input,
Yeah.
but not enough output.
Yeah. 100%.
And once I stopped at the input, I had enough time to actually do the output.
No.
And so I think like all those things are helpful. Like
So
I don't
true.
regret a book I've read or a podcast I've
Yeah.
listened to or a group that I was a part of and
Yep.
people I met through that, because relationships are huge too. So I would always recommend like be a part of some sort of group,
Yep.
or just have a way to meet people.
Yes.
And anyway, I just find it funny. It's like as soon as I stopped doing you got a cold shower, you got to do this every day, write journal, and like all these little things that's like,
Right.
you do this and you'll be successful.
Right.
It's like, oh, once I stopped doing that and just had a singular
Focused
focus
on work. Yeah.
that's when like
Yeah.
I got the reward.
I think like I'm not I don't watch, but I have a friend. He's a big Alex Hormozy guy. He sends me clips, and Alex Hormozy talks about that. He's like, you kind of already know what to do. You just need to go do it.
Yeah.
And he does the cold showers and like fasts and all that. And that's like, I think it's fun to optimize things. It's also like, you kind of know. We all know. I've got my own similar stories in that about like just in like asset allocation, how like at some point it's like, because I've been on this journey of investing since I was 21, and but it's also like you just got to go work, even if it's jobs. I went to grad school and do all these things, but it's like sometimes you just got to put your head down and work and accrue assets, and then from there you can invest the money, you can help businesses, you can do those things. But it's like sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and just go to work, and that's a real thing. And it's not like it's simple but not easy.
Yes.
And it's real, but
Yeah.
it's so real. And then I guess finally, Skylar, what's one truth in your bones that like no one can ever take away from you? What's one truth in life that 100% that you're very convicted about?
I wish I had an answer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Something that I'm.
What's one truth that like in your bones that you will stand on and be like yeah, basically what's one truth in your bones as fact?
I'm drawing a blank here.
Okay.
I don't know, and I think the reason I don't know is because I've been proven wrong so many times on just little like even just proving myself wrong. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I thought this was a limiting thing.
Okay.
Like I mean, I could say like I know the sun will come up tomorrow,
Right.
but like
Don't. Yeah.
you really don't. You
No.
know, well maybe it will come up. I might not see it.
Right.
I might.
Exactly.
Something could happen, right? This might be
Exactly.
the last time I ever speak on
Yep.
the podcast, right?
Yep.
Dark
Yep.
thought, but
Right. Knock on wood. Hopefully not.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have a exact thing that's like, I think that doesn't come from like, I don't know who I am or I don't
Right.
know all these things
Right.
standpoint.
I see that. Yep.
It comes from an open mind.
Mhm.
Like I feel like there's a lot of things that, that I don't know,
Mhm.
and I don't know what I don't know. So yeah, I think I've been proven wrong by a lot of people, and I've evolved a lot, and I've learned a lot of things that have made me think differently about
Right.
X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I feel like the right answer here is like God, right? I think a lot of people would say that, and while I do believe in a God, it's like I've never like verbally spoken to him and had a
Right.
response. I've never
Right.
been to heaven and come back.
Right.
There's
Right.
people that say they
Right.
have, right? And
Right.
I believe them, right?
Right.
And I've seen a ghost,
Right.
okay? So like,
Okay.
I do believe that there's something more.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I know, like,
Right.
I have what I hope it is, my belief. There's
Right.
a lot of religious beliefs out there, and,
Right.
and I go to church I mean, I feel like I think church sometimes get in the way of spirituality. So like, I try to focus more on myself and like trying to like just be the best me I possibly can be. 'Cause that's what most religions talk about anyway.
Yes.
It's like, just be a good person, go about doing good.
Yep.
I think sometimes we overcomplicate
There's
it. So
yes, I have the podcast, and like the most polarizing thing is like when I have a guest on who maybe grew up here or they came here because of the culture, because of the religion, and then they talk about it. Maybe they released it, maybe they're still, and that gets like the most craziest reactions. It's like I didn't grow up here, so I'm not as. But like anytime, I almost stay away from that because almost anytime I talk about it, then I get like a direct message from someone I know who like has this whole, thing that they're just related. Well, whatever the guest says, they have like this whole counter argument to it, either for or against it.
yeah, right.
And it's a whole thing. And it's so I grew up in down south in the church, and there's definitely beautiful things about any sort of association where people work to better themselves and society. And for me, even in my experience, there's also things that you learn to release and sort of unlearn, and so that's still, I still work through that. But last thing, enough about that. But the where do you see yourself? I have to tell you what, 10 years from now, what's your dream reality, Skylar?
10 years. I have 4 beautiful kids. I
Love that.
have bought my sports car.
Yes.
I bought a sports car when I was 23.
Okay.
And had a bad mentor.
Okay.
I would say. I don't know if bad's the right word. Inexperienced.
Okay.
And have only kind of thought things of
Yes.
one way. Sold it. I should have kept it.
Yes.
Kept it. Anyway, so 10 years, 4 beautiful kids. I'm living up in Huntsville, Utah. Have you been there?
No, but it sounds
Beautiful
awesome.
place.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to be there. And I think I want to do business consulting. So my goal is just to be as successful as I personally can be, and then share what's worked for me with other people. And I'm going to be starting my podcast up again soon and talk, mostly business, but you have to tie personal development into business just because I think it's necessary. So there'll be that coming out, and I think that's what I'd love to be doing, is just go about doing good, be the best me, raise kids, and
I hope you have 4 kids. I hope you have like 7. You're an awesome person. We need a bunch of little Skylars.
I tell my wife I want 6 kids, and she's like, ooh, I don't know.
But you don't have any yet. But
no, none yet.
all right,
So we'll see what happens.
It'll happen. And thank you so much for your time, your energy, your positive vibration, how you engage with people, how you engage with myself. Sincerely, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. See you. Bye. I think we're good.
Excellent.
Man, that was fun.
Thank you.
That was great. That was really fun. That was actually just really, really fun.
It's been a long time since I've been on a podcast.
It does have that there. I never